Hello and welcome. Another sound design hangout. This time back in the familiar waters of the regular place, my home base. Hope you haven't missed my face. And I think we've got a good one. And we've been sort of building off topics. We were doing a lot with like velocity and grooves, I think in 17, or I think in SDHO 16 and 17. And then with 18, the last one, and then this one, I want to kind of get back more into the sound design with synthesizers. So if it seems like I'm like moving around to all of these areas, that's actually precisely how I develop and work on Ableton. Like for the most part, I work on developing all of these things rather than making music. I feel like, maybe the highest calling I have right now isn't just to make as much music as possible, but to like learn these things as much as possible, because maybe I'm supposed to be a teacher or something. Who knows? So I want to insert another. This is just a blank MIDI track. You will see there's an EQ8 compressor and limiter, but that's just what I put on my default tracks. So I'm just going to right-click and insert another MIDI track because I want these like side by side. I'm just going to push Command-Option-I to close the input-output panel. So on this first MIDI track, I'm going to drop operator. And on the next one, I'm going to drop wavetable, because I want to kind of build off some of the things from the last one. And if you didn't see the last one, you don't have to. I try to talk about the three main build from the ground up synthesizers in Ableton, which is analog, operator, and wavetable. Analog being the subtractive synthesis synthesizer. Subtractive synthesis is a very common, been around the longest, modern, common, adopted form of synthesis. Operator, which, did we drop it on here? Yes, we did. It can do subtractive synthesis, but it's mostly well known for FM synthesis. So you're not going to be doing FM synthesis in analog. And then wavetable is sort of like the most modern hybrid type synthesizer because it does subtractive synthesis. So it allows you to select and craft very complex but very harmonically well represented or dense waveforms, and you can use this frequency. You can actually use two filters, I mean to say, but it also actually allows you to do FM as well. Not just through utilizing some of these wavetables and finding FM ones and like sweeping through it, but with this little FM thing down here, which is why I wanted to kind of just look at operator and wavetable and just get into some really cool things. So just starting with operator, for as long as recorded time has been around, if you were using Ableton Live and you were going to use one of their synthesizers, you would use analog, you would use operator, and then, wavetable eventually came around, but like you would probably use operator a lot. And so operator, we're going to use it in the most basic subtractive sense, subtractive synthesis, then move on to FM, and then I'm going to show you in wavetable how you can do subtractive synthesis, FM, and then obviously all the other things in wavetable, which just builds on it, because I want you guys to know why I reach for an operator or why I reach for a wavetable, or how they seem so different, but really they're much more similar. Cheers. So an operator, and we're going to go to Audio Effects, Utility, and we're going to need spectrums on all of these. In fact, I might as well just click on operator, or the wavetable, just make sure we've got that over there. So going back to operator, we are going to Shift, or actually, we're going to push Command Option L so I can get over here and click Record Enable, and then Command Option L again. You don't have to know that hotkey. I think you can just do it down here by clicking these arrows. Yeah, there you go. So we have a sine wave, right, because we're in shell A. By the way, these other shells we're just going to turn off. You wouldn't hear them anyway, you know, unless there was like a level. But just to simplify things, we're going to turn them off. So we're only using A. Obviously, the level's up all the way. And Wavetable, you can see a sine, or excuse me, under the wave section, which is also known as an oscillator, you can see these sine waves. So a sine wave is just going to have one harmonic. Sine 4 is going to have sine 8. They're like bit-reduced sine waves. I mean, if they sound, sine 4 actually sounded pretty incredible. And then you have like saw 3. So see over here, saw 3. This means we got the fundamental, so this note. And then we've got the next harmonic and the next harmonic. So if and it says user here because they need to update this. So if I go back to saw 3, I just want to, this shows 64. I'd rather it be on 16. It says user. I don't know why. But if we go to square 3, it'll be a square 3 harmonic, so this will be different. So see how it's like different? It skips a harmonic, as we've said in other ones. And I'm going to lower this a little bit because I have to talk louder to hear myself. Okay. So for instance, if you went in here, you went into the... if you lowered this, you would see this one go all the way down. But if you put this up, you would get that saw wave. Because it does every harmonic. So right now, like this would be a saw 4 because it's like every harmonic. Whereas a square wave would be like this. It skips everyone. Whoops. Skips everyone in sort of like a descending fashion. So if you were to like come in here, so it's like, how bright do you want it? Well, you would want it very bright. See, 64, it's skipping every other one. If we did saw 64, it's doing every one. That sounds bad, but see, the point of subtractive synthesis is you use a filter frequency on a low pass filter and you remove. You're just attenuating these guys, right? And you're adjusting harmonics over time. So in every time, if you're playing the same note, you're going to get this note. But you're going to get a different makeup of harmonics, and how you do that with the... I'm actually going to transpose it down just so we get beefierness. Come back in here. Let's put on square. See how it sounds like fuller? Squares just sound better, even though technically they have like less harmonics because they're skipping everyone, but it just sounds better. And so in subtractive synthesis, you would do something like this. You would take the frequency down. You would come into filter. You would apply a filter envelope. So the filter right here. So right now we are in 255, right? If we moved it all the way up. But if we move it all the way down here, we can use a filter envelope and say open all the way up and close it all the way down. But not all the way up, 35%. And so you get this. If we move the decay of this envelope. So right there, operator is doing subtractive synthesis. Now, what we want to do is, if we select B and turn it on, we'll start modulating it. So watch. In fact, I'm going to come down over to our spectrum, and I'm going to click this down more. So this is the harmonic makeup. We've got this fundamental note, and here are these things over here. In fact, if we even go into A and we put it on saw, you'll see we've got more. And you'll see how it started higher and then it went down. But if I turn this B up, look what happens. It's modulating. In fact, I'm going to turn this filter frequency off. Ouch, that hurt. So like, take a listen. So we actually don't even need to use a filter with FM. In fact, I'm going to go into oscillator A, put it back to a sine wave. And FM was meant to be done with just sine waves, excuse me, because so right now, if we click on oscillator A, it updates here. If we click B, it updates here. So we go back into A, we've got this sine wave. And right now we're trading into FM. And so in B, we have this sine wave. So let's click play. Now, before we would just come into A, we would chock a big saw wave and we would get those harmonics, and then we would use this filter to then, do that. But with FM, what we do is we start with the sine wave. So come back to A, put it on sine wave. And we take B, which is a sine wave, and we add those harmonics. So now we have a completely different way of generating all these harmonics, which we can still go into filter and use. So that's why you would always just want to filter, so you can do that. So for instance, if I come back in here, what I can choose to do is I can take this envelope and say, I want the effect of this to fade in over time, kind of like when you would fade in a filter. So you would have your filter frequency, the envelope, go from low to high. So you go, you know what I mean? So without even having a filter, we can do that by making an envelope on oscillator B. So take a listen to this. And I'm going to give it a bit of a longer attack so you can hear it. Even longer. So what it says is, it's going to take we'll make it a second. So it's going to take 1 second to go all the way down, which is just a sine wave, all the way up here. Okay? Well, we have to... okay. Merlin, leave it. It's probably like a dog or a cat or a bunny teasing him or something outside. He's in the kitchen looking out the sliding glass door. So ready? It's going to go all the way up. See, I can see those things just kind of trail in. So that's how you would do that. So basically, you can do a lot of other things. You have these routing algorithms. The reason why this is happening is because this B is modulating A. We're on this one right here. In fact, if you put it here, it would be straight subtractive. So you could just add up a bunch of different waves, and then you could have them go through the filter. You could have them all go out, but then D could modulate all of them. So you have all these different modulating possibilities, but it's like FM modulation. It's also, as we saw, the subtractive synthesis as well. I'm actually going to reset this here, drag the operator again, because I want to show you that we can do that FM in Wavetable pretty easily. But let's take a break. I'm talking a lot. Got to catch my breath. FM modulation, you got this sine wave. You got that sound, right? I'm going to push the transpose down. So we're going to start an octave lower now. Okay, and now we're going to add some FM. Now watch, we're going to do that exact same thing in Wavetable. Check it out. So Wavetable actually starts with this, which gives us the basic forms. Sine wave right now, saw wave, and then square wave, and then morphing between the two. So right now, sine wave, just like before. Whoops. We have to go back and make sure we unrecord that. Record this. Command Option L on a Mac. Now, watch. We want an octave down. So let's go to semitones, shift down arrow. Now, how are we going to get FM? Well, you could find an FM wavetable in here, but I'm not going to do that. I want just basic FM because I want it to show you that it's identical to it. So if we come over here, we could click FM. So these are different, I don't even know what they're even called. They're like effects you can add. So listen to what happens if we do this. We're going to leave the tune alone because that's going to change the pitch. All we want is amount. So right now, nothing's happening until we give it an amount, okay? But I just want to show you. We're on a sine wave, right? Because this is the wavetable. So it says, what does your waveform look like? Right now, it looks like this. This is what it looks like, right? But we're going to keep it here. This is just a sine wave. See? Only got the one fundamental. So if I come into operator, I'm going to record it. And now we're going to slowly add in the FM and listen. And then we're going to do the same thing in Wavetable. Tell me what you hear. Wonderful. Now let's go do it in Wavetable. It's the same thing. See them changing? Watch how they change over here. I'm going to put it down to 0. Watch how they change over here. Okay, just the fundamental until we add it up. Give us that FM, baby. Okay, we're going to deactivate Wavetable, come back into here in Operator. Ready? Ready? What? That was it. Let's go home. Turn off the lights. Did y'all know that? I bet you knew there was FM, but did you know it was like basically identical? This is a great program, folks. Wavetable. Let's take it back down to 0. So remember I told you you got these things? So like right here you've got a square wave. Here, I don't know if saw wave, if the truest saw wave is here. So like if we push a note, this is our note. Now watch the harmonic content change as we morph. We're just morphing through the wavetable. This filter all the way up. Which one's the actual saw wave? Is this the saw wave? We're going to lower the frequency because that just hurts. Yeah, that's the saw wave, and then that's the square wave. We're going to keep it on square, okay? And we are going to lower the filter frequency, okay? And we're going to make it go up. So let's go to envelope 2. Okay, we're in mod sources, envelope 2. We're going to give it an attack. Remember that we did like a 1 second attack. I'm going to push this sustain up, give it a release because we love release. I'm going to go to amp just to make sure. That's the volume over time. I really just want it to basically stay open for the most part and have a nice release. So here's what we have right now. And by the way, keep in mind we've got this filter frequency cutting everything out. So we want it to go up. So what we do, we want to put this frequency on the, we want to route it to this envelope 2. So what you do is you go to envelope 2, you go to filter 1 frequency, and you have to give it an envelope amount, just like you would on any other program. So right now watch what happens. Let's give it some envelope amount. See? So that's subtractive synthesis. It's taking a bright waveform, a full-blown square wave. We could have done a saw wave, but we wanted, and if you wanted to morph between, which you'll see, that's what you do in Wavetable. But you take this square wave, right? And let's pop over to Operator quickly. Quick cheers, because I'm getting excited. If you're getting excited, smash the like. I got too excited. I soiled me britches. I said I wasn't going to do those voices anymore. Jeez. So let's turn off B. Turn it down. So we've just got A. Now let's give us a really bright square wave. Okay? So there you go. And then we'll turn the frequency down. Now, here you have it. Filter. We're on the filter tab. We're going to give it an attack. Remember, we're going to give it a 1 second attack. Just because I like to do this, I like to hold the filter frequency up after it reaches its full thing. I always like to give release so there's no sharp cutoffs. We're going to click on oscillator A, so we've got our square wave, right? But we want to go into envelope, and I'm going to leave it just be full open. I'll give it like the tiniest bit of attack, but what I really care about is this filter frequency envelope. So remember before we had to adjust the filter envelope, or we had to create the envelope and route the filter to it? Well, this is the filter envelope, and if we adjust this frequency, but we want it to start low, right? And then over a second, open up all the way. So we have to go into this filter tab and assign an envelope. So let's assign this envelope and watch it come in, just like before with Wavetable. Let's jack up the envelope amount to make it brighter. Okay. Now let's go into Wavetable. And let's play our sound. See our envelope 2 going up over a second. And in our matrix, we've got envelope 2 routed to filter frequency. So our filter frequency is down here, which it has to be, because the envelope 2 is going to apply to it, and it's going to give it that exact envelope frequency. Listen. There we go. Yeah, there's probably a neighborhood cat just staring at little Chunky. And he's like, what are you doing? You're making me mad. I swear if this glass wall wasn't here, I'd be running and chasing you and going woo woo. Actually, no, he would be happy. He'd be like, oh, let's play. But if there's that door, and it's like, what are you doing? So yeah, I hope I just showed you that Wavetable perfectly does the subtractive synthesis that you would do in analog. It does the FM that you would do in operator. It's got 2 filters, so you would say, well, you only got 1 filter in operator, but you got 2 filters in analog. It's like, well, you do got 2 filters here. You also got 2 filters here in Wavetable. And you still got the the what's it called, the filter drives, and you got obviously those. You've got the FM. In fact, you don't just have the FM, but you have these other ones as well. Pulse width, so you can do pulse width modulation. You guys know I'm a sucker for the pulse width. What? I'm a sucker for the pulse width. I'm coming at you. I had some. Yeah. I see a bunny. Merlin, leave it. See how you got that going here? I got to turn parallel off. So you've got that. You've got this pulse width. You can, by the way, see this pulse width amount? If you come to matrix, you can now modulate the pulse width. Right? Or can you not modulate pulse width? Oscillator 1 position, oscillator 1, oscillator 1 pulse width, yeah, so go into here, let's turn off retrig, lower the rate, see how it's now going slower? It's because we routed it here. So you can do that with this sync value as well. But we're not going to do that. We're going to move on. By the way, so we did see the FM. We got the classic, modern, whatever, warp. So yeah, it's incredible. And, obviously you've got all of these different wavetables. So rather than being stuck to like variations of saws and squares and sine waves, and then you can also, of course, you modulate this while it plays, or add it to its own envelope. So like if we come in here, oscillator 1 position, let's add some LFO 2. You know what I mean? So to go back to basic shapes here, you can then all of a sudden say, well, let's put this envelope 3, and we're going to have it open up, and we're going to have it go down over time. So we're going to have it open up and then go down the whole time. So let's go into the matrix. Let's go to oscillator 1 position, and let's. I think we have to do a negative amount. See how that jumped down? Let's move it up actually more. Now you got to do negative because we want it to go down. And as it goes down, it's still being modulated. In fact, let's go to envelope 3. Let's do the down slower. So like now you can morph between squares and sines, and then you can go to this modern one, and you can warp. Let's assign the warp to envelope 2, so it opens up slowly, goes from 0 up to 38%. You know what I mean? We can add some filter drive. Wow, see how it beefed it up? And then if you come over here, you've got these unison modes. So listen to this. Let's add a unison. Let's do phase sync. Actually, let's just do classic. Listen how wide it goes. So amount 0% means nothing, but I'm going to add a little bit. So see how beautiful that is? And by the way, that thick, beautiful sound, there's no effects. Like EQ8, it's not doing anything but cutting out these lows, right? Compressor, it's just compressing it a little bit. Limiter is just making, if it peaks, it brings it down. So there's like, and the spectrum is just showing us what this all looks like. So like, we aren't adding any audio effects yet, but I think we may cap it there because I want to get into some other activities. I'm feeling the creative juices, but I just wanted to show you that Wavetable is so... I wanted to kind of like connect all the pieces together. Wavetable just rocks. It blows my world. And I was so pleasantly surprised to see how you could basically get all the same sounds right out the gate in Wavetable that you would in Operator Analog. I hope that was inspiring, guys. Love you all, and yeah, really appreciate you guys. Oh, hey, Chunkush. You done yelling at that bunny? He's like, I yelled at that bunny so darn long, and he just kept staring at me, nibbling on that grassy. And I said, boy, if you come outside, I'm going to chase you. If I was outside, that is, I would just chase you around going woo, woo, woo. Actually, he wouldn't even be barking at he would want to play, you know, but he's gotten close to chasing bunnies. Like, they would take a wrong turn, and Chunky would, like, cut him off. But I'm like, you're still not fast enough. You're probably one of the fastest pugs out there. But to most dogs, you ain't that fast, little guy.